of the population in these institutions, church and schools and clubs and you name it, are females. Then when you begin to look into the male population that we have on this island now, what is happening to the male population? That is 40%. Call it 3 out of every 10 students at the tertiary level are males. 3 out of every 10. And out of those 3 males, one of them belong to the gay community. One of them is a member of the gay and transsexual and homosexual community. So you see, out of the whole ratio of 10, 2 male man available, 2, out of 10. Now, where are all the man them? Where the man them there? Where are the males? Why these institutions are so filled with women? Gambling, playing games, enough domino, enough ludo, enough horse racing, enough man there prison. So the males of our society now, the youths who are under 30, taking up this lifestyle now of just, it's really like gambling. Everything becomes a gamble. Nothing becomes planned and programmed. But here my social issue now. You see, out of that great percentage of youths in our population, I am saying at least 90% of them smoke herb. Yeah, I am saying about 90% of that population smoke herb. And you see, out of the 49% of big people who over 30, over 50% of them people that smoke herb. So in a society like Jamaica now, what is the future if half of the population, or nearly half of the population smoking herb, and if you get caught with a spliff, you become a criminal? Are we not setting up ourselves to just turn all of the youths them into criminals over a spliff? While the same society encourage these youths now to get drunk responsibly. We need to address this particular dissonance. Because if we're going to talk about advancing this rock and social living, we have to address this serious injustice. Because the courts and the legal system could be freed up if, for example, you were given a ticket if you had more than 0.6 ounces of marijuana. Yeah, a ticket. So that would free up the system. Free up the system. Actually bring income to the government. And release the policeman them to go and do real work. And leave the people them who walk around with them 1 spliff or 2 spliff. And at the same time, there's no reason why this has to be done in public spaces. Just like cigarette, it's not tolerant in public spaces. So we're not telling people to walk up and down the place and smoke ganja. So you see, there are ways we can deal with bringing this place to a level where the violence can be toned down. But a lot of the violence comes through harassment from the police through the cultural engagement with the cannabis sativa. Yeah, the metamorphosis. Moving into I word, sound, and power.
Is there always gonna be one more bridge to cross? Let it go. Is there always gonna be one more bridge to cross? Black people, do we really have to fight? Black people, do we really have to fight? You see, where I live, in the heart of the city, in the ghetto of the city, baby, all I can see is confusion, y'all. Every day all I can see is a brother against a brother. See a brother against a brother, I will tell you. Yeah, just a brother against a brother, I would say. Too much confusion. See, I can't take it no more in a Babylon. See, I be going out of Babylon. And I be going out of Babylon. I be going on the first train tomorrow. We don't feel no pain or sorrow. I be going on the first train tomorrow. No need no baggage, I no ticket, I don't say. Yeah. No need no baggage, I no ticket, I don't tell you. All you got to do is to be clean, yeah. Every day I pray to God, God, yeah. Let the righteous be glad and the righteous stay, yeah. Just to let them feel how great is Judge's power. Ooh, yeah, yeah. Instead of a brother against a brother, let the brother try to live with one another. Yeah, cause every brother is a brother. Brothers, all you got to do is understand each other. Got no need for no fuss or fight. And we be going on a full straight tomorrow. Got no need for no sorrow. Need no baggage and no ticket, I would say. No need no baggage and no ticket, I will tell you. I be going on the first thing tomorrow. Yeah, can't take it no more in a Babylon, as I would say. No more in a Babylon. In a Babylon. We can't remove ya. Go out of sight and out of mind. We can't move ya. We can't move ya. Move. To a land of prosperity. We can't gone ya. We can't live in man. The hygiene walk so.
Yeah, big youth. Big youth. Yes, from our era when the love and unity and peace and prosperity was the sounds. Yeah, it was not all about bad mind and who not like who and frenemy and the level of the conversation to the rhythms were more uplifting. But so it is. And here we are in this point in time. Now, the whole notion of good and evil is something that is perplexing, I think, to I and I, the black people, this whole good and evil issue. And in our cells, we tend to all pursue good. Or we are socialized and we are educated to pursue the good and to hate and to have disdain for evil. So we have been given a way of looking at existence, looking at life, looking at the universe. And in that look, we have been given what I'm going to call a two-dimensional look. We have a two-dimensional view. And this two-dimensional view now is not the universe that is physical that I speak of, but a universe that we're going to construct and call it a moral universe. So we can look around us and we can see the sun and the planets and some physical objects and call that the physical universe. But there's also a universe that we have been given. And we can call this now a moral universe. And this universe now, what we have been given now, it has been divided into two dimensions. It's all about good and evil. And so that's how we get a chance to look at the world. That the world is governed, let us say, by these two forces. One called good, one called evil. And so it's a perpetual battle, so we hear, between these two forces. And this battle obviously has been going on long before the notion of even man. Because these notions that we speak about, good and evil, are concepts, ideas. So they're operating in the world of the mind. So this view of the universe, good and evil, we call it a dichotomy. It makes us have to take a side. It forces us to choose. It's an either or either way of looking at things. So you're either good or you're evil. Now, in the reality of analysis, things are not dual. things have more than two dimensions. So though there's length and there's width, there's also a dimension called depth. So we can break out of the perception of this either or either way and recognize that it could be neither. So this third perspective, this third view of the universe would make us make space for what we're going to call now indifference. So there's good and there's evil and there's indifference. Three serious forces that we're going to contend with as we go through the metamorphosis. Three forces. In the same way, we're going to look at the forces that have been called God, the force that has been called the devil, and the force that is called Satan. Metamorphosis. I word, sound, and power.
In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Jah, and the Word was Jah. In the beginning Jah created the heaven and the earth. Then created man of his own likeness and image. Gave unto man wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Jah is my help and my strength, so shall I fear. He's a shield upon my right and my left hand. So
yes, as we move into I word, sound, and power, and we hear this haunting sounds of Tosh, we normally have to speak about some notion of a beginning. Once we're going to search for the origin of evil, the source of evil, because if evil is a problem in the world, then if we can find the source and deal with the source, then maybe half of the problem will be solved. Rather than try to solve the symptoms, let us try to get to the source. So when we look into time and the stories, black people in the Christian world, explanation comes through story of the Bible. Explanation for good and evil is provided in the King James Version of the world. And in this book, in the book of Genesis, this is a book that gives 95% of the Christian black world their story of the genesis of evil. Now, we must re-examine the story, because it's a story and it has an impact on I and I in this point in time. Because oftentimes people will do things to other people that are really, really what we call wicked. And in the explanation for the wickedness, they will tell you that it was really the devil that did it. And if it was the devil that did it, the devil was a cause of the wicked act. So for decades, we have this thing that has been created called a devil. And we have never really sat down to really interrogate this being. We see images in cartoons and we see images in movies, and the source of evil is always non-white. Let me put it that way. Yeah, the source of evil. So here we are now, and we're trying to look into this beginning of evil and this thing called a devil, because I'm putting it out to the ones I want to think about it now, that maybe there is no such entity called a devil. Yeah, maybe there's no such single fountain from which all evil flows. And if that is the case, then evil apparently flows out of the minds of men. And therefore, to be man who would have been taking responsibility for evil actions. It could not be passed. We have to begin to start passing it on now to this thing called the devil. So, what is the devil? It's two words. It is do and it is evil. It is two words that have come together to form the word devil, a doer of evil. So obviously evil existed long before the concept of a devil. Yeah man, think about that. There had to be evil as a concept long before there was any such thing as a devil. And if that is the case, then where is good? And how does good fit into the picture? And which is more powerful? And are they the same? And is there an opposing force that is called God? Yeah. Who has created these dichotomies and given to us that we can now be controlled by these two forces, the God and the devil?
Press a man, where you gonna run to? Down, press a man, where you gonna run to? Down, press a man, where you gonna run to? All along that day, you gonna run to the sea. But the sea will be boiling when you run to the sea. The sea will be boiling when you run to the sea. The sea will be boiling all along that day. You're gonna run to the rocks. The rocks will be melting when you run to the rocks. The poor rocks will be melting when you run to the rocks. The rocks will be melting, I said, all along that day. So I said, down, press a man, where you gonna run to? I said, down, press a man, where you gonna run to? I said, down, press a man, where you gonna run to? All along that day.
Yeah, Metamorphisis. Exploring through philosophy and psychology and the disciplines allowed to look into this good and evil dichotomy. God have been put on us, our grandparents, our great grandparents, all of us have been locked into this perception of good and evil. And they never even put color to it. Because in the concept of good and evil now, evil becomes black, dark. And good becomes white. And so the whole philosophy of superiority goes over into the concepts through colors. And people begin to identify themselves as whites. So, good and evil. When we think about state of nature and the origins, we have to go into mythology. Because nobody is physically there to document these events. And every society has their beginning story. Every culture have a beginning. Every culture. And the beginning is always mythical. It's always about beings, semi-beings, gods and semi-gods. It all occurs in the realm of mythology. What is the mythology that we embrace? to justify that there is a devil. Where do we get that story from? How is it we give responsibility to the devil for doing evil, yet when evil happens, we say it's an act of God? Because the ancients usually give all credit to everything to God. God was at once the author of all evil. So all things came from God, both good and evil. There is a time in the history of the ancients, then there was no concept of a devil. Because evil really was a reflection of natural disasters. So there wasn't any individual person responsible for natural disaster. So when a hurricane came, or when there was a drought, or when there were natural events, those things were called evil. But there was no entity that was blamed for those events. So there was no devil. There was no devil. The devil became a recent introduction where we really begin to feel some serious kind of wickedness. Yes. Where we began to get caught up into this transatlantic slave trade. And the notion of wickedness really, really surfaced. The things that the Europeans did unto I and I went beyond barbarity. So when we talk about devil, we have to begin to look at the practical and see how does that behavior manifest through certain type of people. And begin to stop look up into the sky and under the ground for the force called the devil. Right? The devil is a representation of the doers of evil. There's no central fountain that all evil rests and you go there and you tap into it and evil just flow out. These are behaviors. And we need to shift our meditation away from this invisible driving force called the devil and begin to take responsibility for our own behavior. Especially when we don't like what we do. Quickly can say, oh, it's not my fault, it's the devil make I do it. So the people in Christianity, the devil is a very important figure, you know. Because it's a justification for doing all sorts of worldly things. All sorts of carnal behavior. And it's justified by saying, well, you know, it's really the devil that made me do it. Poor devil. Devil under enough pressure. So it's a tool. It's a tool that has been created. And the devil also controls the meditation of the people who are afraid. Then what is Satan? Because Satan now is a third entity. Yeah, man. Satan. Emperor Satan. The Prince of Darkness. And no, we're not talking about evil. We're talking about the powers of darkness. So there's a distinction between darkness and evil. You have to kind of make that clarity in your own meditation. And so we're going to explore Satan. Yes, Satan, the examiner. You have to pass Satan to get to the Almighty. Yes, when money enter certain things now and things go wrong, we say, boy, the devil come in. And the devil is strong. So we have manifested this concept out of our own thoughts, that it now has a power unto itself. That when a man commit evil, it is not his responsibility anymore for what he did. It was the devil who had caused him. So we have to be careful now how we create these entities to pass on responsibility. But again, how do we come to the beginning, the creation of this concept called the devil? It comes through Sunday school teachings. Yes, Sunday school teachings. And in the Sunday school teachings, they tell us now about the kingdom of God. So long before man was made in the Genesis story, there was a kingdom. And in that kingdom dwelt God and his angels. This is the story that we get. In the kingdom of God, God and his angels, and everybody was good. Everything was good. Now, the story that we get through Christian teaching is that within all of this goodness, there is no man, there is no pollution. This is God in his kingdom, pristine, untouched, unblemished, no sin, no corruption. And within that environment, one of God's angels, named Lucy, decided to challenge God for authority. Now, Lucy could have been a woman, but we here says Lucifer. But just for short, let us say it's Lucy. And she decided to challenge God to run in the kingdom. Now, we have to be practical now, you know. Here is a confrontation. So far, I don't see any sign of evil yet. I see a power challenge. I see a challenge to authority. I don't sense anything evil yet. So in this challenge, we hear, you know, of a war. Because God has collected his angels, Michael and Gabriel, and a set of men on his side. And Lucifer gathered her angels, a set of women on her side. And there's this tremendous battle in heaven. No, man don't make it, you know. Remember I said we don't make it, you know. Right? And this is going. This tremendous battle in the heavens. And angels are slaughtered. Enough angels dead from one side. And when all is said and done, Lord God's side win. And the man them say, no, them capture Lucy. And we punish Lucy now for disobedience and rising up against the Almighty. And kick out Lucy out of heaven. And Lucy fall now to earth. Hey, hear this now, you know. And when Lucy drop on earth, them say Lucy change color. Because first of all, everybody in heaven was white. And when Lucy land, Lucy get black. And not only Lucy get black, Lucy name change from Lucifer to Satan. Now, you see, if we want to agree with all that story, all it's showing me that, you know, that Satan is an angel. That Satan is a divinity. It has nothing to do with Satan now being evil. So we cannot equate Satan with the source of evil. Source of resistance. A source of challenging authority. And them way Satan rests. So you see the other thing called devil now? We have to start with the devil thing. Because devil look like something that dwell in certain people. It's a people thing that now. Yeah, man, we have to point your finger now on the devil. And make us embrace and empower the Almighty and Satan.
Who were the founders of science and conspiracy will not last. 'Cause we know our history. Who built the pyramid? We are from the Nile Valley. Tell the truth to humanity. We all know your aim. Come on, historian. We all have a claim to fame. Time to tell the world now, We all know your aim. Come on, historian. We all have a claim to fame. We know our history. Who built the pyramid? We are from the Nile Valley. Tell the truth to humanity. Left from the north to the south to the west. Victims of persecution and conquest. But we know our history. Who built the pyramid? We are.
Yeah, Metamorphisis continues as we move into Africa. African World Affairs. Section we call Africa Our Story. And before we go any further, I just want to tell the ones that you see, when I come into Port Antonio normally I'm a bit kind of famished. And so when I really find that I need a food, I patronize a place called Zion Train Restaurant. It's up in the marketplace in Port Antonio. I'm gonna give you some details as we go through about this place. You get some Irish steamed fish and good food there, and they want to come up, be a part of the Metamorphisis. So just bringing them in quietly. This is Zion Train. Yeah, restaurant, Musgrave Marketplace. Yeah, check it. So as we go into Africa, you know, the theme song speaks about the pyramids being built by the people who were from the Nile Valley. Well, in this region that we risk, this region called the Caribbean, this Antilles, there are also pyramids. What then is the connection between the pyramids of ancient Egypt and the pyramids of the Mayans? Obviously, there is a serious architectural similarity, serious amount of similarity in mathematics. And so we begin to recognize that there are cultural links between the Mayans and the Egyptians. Yeah, we in this region need to know this, because the Mayans are not separate and distinct from I and I in this part of the Antilles. Yeah, it's one region. It's one region. And so the pyramid culture of ancient Egypt, the pyramid culture of the pharaohs, the same pyramid culture has been in this region. And so the history shows us, again, through research and through the journeys of one European called Thor Heyerdahl, who proved that the Africans were able to sail from Africa to the Caribbean by getting into certain currents. They could leave from the Canary Islands and come into Barbados. So the ancient Africans traveled the sphere, and they have links right here in this region that we call the Caribbean. So there's a great writer called Ivan van Sertima. And Ivan van Sertima's book called They Came Before Columbus speaks about the Africans being in this region from 20,000 years before the Christian era. 20,000 BC, we have evidence of black African people in this region. So those of us who are looking at the Caribbean history and starting with Columbus coming here in 1490 something and so forth and so on, there's a very large gap in your understanding that needs to be filled. Very, very large gap. So when we talk about pre-Columbian history and the black people who were here 20,000 years before Columbus lost his way, then amongst those 20,000 years ago, and amongst those people, we find the Mayans. And the Mayans' culture was far advanced than anywhere that even this region or even the Europeans ever knew. The Mayans had their own calendar. The Mayans understood mathematics and science in the same way the ancient Egyptians had that knowledge. The Mayans understood aerodynamics. There are theories that show that the Mayans knew how to fly through space, and that there are airfields in Central America that you can only see from high up in the sky. So the Mayans are now a very unique people. They have been considered to have disappeared off the planet. And in that disappearance, the Europeans have been searching Central America, examining the Olmecs and the Toltecs to understand the high level of mathematics and science that the Mayans knew. So they found the Mayan calendar. And from that interpretation, they tell us that the world would end now in 2012. I will not be petrified by those type of talk, because I have the knowledge, and I know of the Mayans, and I know of the Egyptians, and I know of black people, and I know that the earth is here, and life goes on.
Brothers and my sisters, now this is a message of love. Oh, yeah. And if only everyone learned to live in love and unity, then things would be better. Not only things would be better, but the world would be better. All right. Walking down the street in Africa, Africa, looking at the sky in Africa, Africa, searching for a place which is Africa, Africa. And there's no need for wars in Africa, Africa. Don't you know that it's true, that for me, and for you, slavery abolished. Don't you know that it's true, that for me and for you, the world is a ghetto.
Yeah, we're looking at Africa and world affairs and the impact of Africans on the whole planet. Yes, the impact of African people. And there's overwhelming evidence that the Africans have been here 20,000 years before the Christian era. 20,000 years before the birth of Jesus of Nazareth. 20,000, you know. African people were here. Now, what does it tell us? It tells us that when Columbus came here and he spoke about his taínos, African people were already here. African people were here. Maybe the same African people now they're trying to call taínos, who they used to call Arawaks. It's just trying to deny the presence of Africans around the globe. So this notion of an Indian is a misconstruction, because this region it was not the Indies, so the people here could not be called Indians by definition. What they saw were black people. And it's the black people who must recognize and reclaim that history. That is our story. So this region wasn't discovered by white men who lost their way. This region was known for thousands of years. And the Mayans, which is just across the way in Central America, the Olmecs and the Toltecs, the society that could build those giant heads with apparently no technology, it's the same culture that comes out of Africa. It is the Africans who have circumnavigated the earth and spread black culture. It is evidenced through the pyramids. Yeah, the pyramids, the mathematics and the physics that goes into the building of the pyramids shows a similarity in architecture. It shows a similarity in religion. because the Mayans also worship the sun god. The ancient Egyptians worship the sun god. All ancient cultures, black cultures, recognize the sun, S-U-N, as the Almighty. Metamorphisis, Size FM, Rob.
Instead of fussing and fighting, why not just get together and live in one love and one unity, you know? Rebel in the morning, rebel in the evening too. Now don't you be like a devil when I play with sounds called a rebel, rebel, rebel. How you mean, you know? The man says a great adventurer. You can hear what I say, let there be love. See the morning sun on the inside. Nothing in this world they could I never do. Not living good. Never to stop, not to dread from living up, y'all. Said I'm a living man and I got a lot of work to do. Said I'm a living man. I'm got work to do. Woo! Music gotta come on over, rock it with me now. Come rock it on over, baby. Step it on over. Say rebel in the morning, a rebel in the evening.
Yeah, we're still looking at African world affairs, our story. You know, a lot of African people who have been trapped into this western side, this region called the Caribbean, have been so confused in identities. One time we were West Indians. We, the West people from West Africa, were switched from Africans to Indians. And then we were switched from West Indians to Caribbean people. What will they call us next? Well, you see this region here, 20,000 years before the Christian era, it wasn't called the Caribbean. First of all, it wasn't called the West Indies, because the West Indies is really a construction of Columbus' experience, where he tried to find his way to the Indies by going to the West. And in this journey, he got blown into this region. He thought he was in the Indies. And so he called this region the West Indies. So we can understand that error and that false labeling of calling ourselves West Indians. The notion of the Caribbean, when we try to find how did the label come about, we are told that it is really drawn from the fact that there were some Indians, a set of people rather, in the region that were called the Caribs. And from these people, we don't know what they have done to get this great honor to have a region named after them. But whatever it was, we will accept that it is from these people that the region got the name Caribbean. Now, you see, 20,000 years ago, there were no people called Caribs. So the region was not even considered in terms of language to be called a Caribbean area. And if you do the research and explore and even look at the maps, even the most recent map, you see the word Antilles. And so this region, before Columbus, long before the Americans came out of the caves and explored themselves and got out of Europe, this region was called the Antilles. So vast was a region that we call one section the Greater Antilles, and we call the other section the Lesser Antilles. And if you do a little bit more exploration of the word Antilles, we find that there's a connection between Antilles and Atlantis. So we can use linguistic research and connect and reconnect and re-identify. And out of our experiences, recognize that, you see, I and I in this region, we are not West Indians and we're not Caribbeans. We are really ancient Atlantean people. But let us say Africa for our blackness. Metamorphisis. Size FM.
Every one of us want progress, as I would say. But some of us can't stand success, as I would tell you. Why when one tries to do a thing of his own, you know, something kind of progressive. Yeah. Something kind of your own. Time when you don't check what another person's do, as I would say. Don't check them at all. You got to learn to do one or thing, as I would say. Watch your step on, don't you take no step, as I would say. And I don't know Goliath to David slew him with a stone. David slew him with a marble stone on down there. Community boom down there. With a marble stone on down there. Little David do to big Goliath as I would tell you. You come to tell me that you are. You say that you are the follower. But I no follow. I create and I don't try to do other people's things, I would say. Boom down there. Righteousness stands forever, as I would say. Down there. You see the little kids going down the street, they say, love each and every one of them, as I would say. Boom down there. Boom down there. So your mama got to be down there. Your papa got to be down there. Each and every one of us has got to be down there. Got to come with love, as I would say. Love and happiness, as I would say.
Yeah, so this is how we started coming out of Africa and world affairs and Africa, our story. In other words, the story of Africa penetrates this region much deeper than the European story would want us to believe. They would like us to think that Africans came to this region because of the African slave trade, the enslavement of African people. That transatlantic movement is what they want us to think, that this was the starting point of Africa's entrance into this region. But our story tells us, through the writings and research of one like Ivan van Sertima, a Guyanese scholar and anthropologist, that shows Africa's presence in this region 20,000 years before the birth of Jesus of Nazareth. And in those 20,000 years prior to that, there's evidence of the Mayan culture and the similarities between the Mayan culture and the African culture, and the fact that Africans were Mayans and the Mayans are African people. It is one black family, one black culture, one black philosophy, one ideology that the Son is the Almighty. It is Europeans who come with the distraction that the S-O-N is the Almighty and have taken us away from our real divinity. So good and evil becomes our great battle rather than unifying ourselves with our own powers. Africa, yes, we have to maintain that consciousness. It is our sense of identity and power.
Very superstitious. superstition ain't the way. Yeah. Ooh, there is superstition. Wash your face and hands. Let me go the problem. Do all that you can. Keep me in daydream. Keep me going strong. You don't want to save me. Sad is my song. When you believe in things you don't understand, then you stop.
Yeah, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up.
Superstition
Yeah.
is the way.
Wake up from our false beliefs. Let us move towards knowledge. Yes, towards our own liberation. Through knowledge, beliefs you can buy at 10 cents a dozen. What you believe today, you can disbelieve tomorrow. What you know today, you cannot unknow it tomorrow. Yes, what you know is what you know. So continuing the discourse now on the source of good and evil coming out of the mythologies and the fables and the rhymes. You know, once you accept the dichotomy of good and evil, then you are locked into the spaces of heaven and hell. So everything line up now, you know. So once you embrace that philosophy of God and the devil and good and evil, then you're locked now, not only in time, but in a space. And those spaces now we call between heaven and hell. And your battle now is to avoid hell and to get into heaven. That becomes the focus. And that's a very tough task, especially when you have to deal with your own economic self-being and your family, to spend your time trying to avoid going into hell and getting into heaven. It's a whole heap of work, that. And it's a hard way to live. Because when you explore this thing called earth, on which we must live, we find that man is unjust. And in this unjust state of man, there's oppression. So it is difficult now to simply try to be good. You're actually forced to perform evil. So in other words, if a man is shelterless, or a man is hungry, he will what we call steal. So from the man who takes away that he has been robbed, to the man who take it, it is about his survival. Things become from a perspective. So the good and evil thing becomes relevant. And people begin to speak about absolute good and relative good and absolute evil, relative evil. Ultimately, people are afraid to go to hell. Because hell is described as this place of torment, where you're tormented for the rest of your life. Now you're supposed to be dead, you know. But your spirit and your soul will be tormented for eternity. So a lot of persons are locked into that fear of their souls being tormented into eternity. On the other side of the coin now, they show you heaven. And heaven is this place where only the righteous can get there. And the only righteous people are the people who follow Jesus. So it narrowed down now, you know. It narrowed down. You have to be a follower of Jesus. Not only righteous, you know. Because if you're righteous and you don't follow Jesus, you can't get in. So to get into this heaven, it becomes a struggle. And then it set a number. Because the scripture tells you 144,000 will be allowed in. Right now we have 7 billion people on the planet. And how many more million have passed already? And it's only 144,000 can get in. 12,000 from each tribe. I'll show you how it narrowed down already, you know. There's a man like me. There's a man like Gavi. Baba and Peter. There is no space for I and I in heaven, you know. No, brethren. There is no space because the concept that we get of heaven is not one that will host whose people have been black revolutionaries. So there's no space in heaven for a black revolutionary. Because the black revolutionary, for example, Nat Turner, killed enough white people. So obviously him can't go to heaven. Paul Bogle could not make it into heaven. I'm killing enough white people too. So generally speaking, our heroes cannot make it into heaven. And I know say there's going to be a no smoking law when you go to heaven. And we know say in hell, where it is warm, herb must burn. Metamorphisis. Size FM. So now besides having these two places that we dread, one of them everybody want to go. But you see, to get to heaven, you have to dead first, you know. Yeah, you can't get in there while you're alive. But then people find living so nice that they don't want to die. So they are suffering from a type of schizophrenic behavior. The Christians. They get into a place, they don't want to pay that price, but they all want to go there. Now, besides the physical place that they try to create in our imaginations, it is reinforced again by the book. Same book of Genesis, trying to explain the origins of evil. And in this explanation, before I just explained to the item this battle that took place in this cosmic place where none of us know about. How the writer got into there to write those stories, I don't know. They call it inspiration. But after all of that great battle, and Lord God created the earth and decided to put fish and bird and set up the place down and said, no, for the life form take place. I remember now, you know, it was void and thing, empty. And Lord God decided to put life into the place and spruce it up. Create oxygen and fish and bird and snake and everything. And when everything was done, Everything was done, plant, fish, everything set up. Lord God decided now I'm going to make man. Now, you see, before we make man, remember now, all the trees were made, all the animals. And amongst those trees was a ganja plant. Yes, the cannabis sativa family were among all of the trees within the creation and the planet. This is before man makes some. I tell them now, say, the plants have been here long before man. And that is scientifically proven because it is the plants that create oxygen for man and animals to breathe. So you can't entertain the idea of man on the planet without plants. Just like how you can't say man without water. So within the context now of that situation, we find, say, good, evil, heaven and hell, plants, that there's a plant in the garden that has in it the knowledge of good and evil. Remember this now, people. I know me I make it up, It in the book. It said before man was made, the trees and the plants and the animals and everything were made. And amongst the trees and the plants was the hemp. Yeah, man. Because it is documented that the hemp is the most versatile plant on the planet. Yeah, it is the most useful plant. It's a plant that requires no pesticide or herbicide to grow. And it takes its energy right from the sun. So imagine now, here in this garden, before man was made, is a tree that has knowledge in it of evil. So you see, evil exists long before even man was even created in the mythology. So man then cannot be the source of evil, or is it? Or is it? Because how does evil manifest itself, if not through man? Because the plants don't express no evil. The animals don't express evil. The plants and animals are not locked into this moral universe. It is a man who has created this moral universe. So evil then is a responsibility of man. We can't find any entity outside of man to put the responsibility on for committing evil. So it's the black people. It's when we are wronged, it is the people who wrong us. It's nothing invisible. It is people. And we look at our history and the people that have wronged us. Yeah, we better wake up and really see who is the devil. Metamorphosis.
Just a fly down like raven, Why you so craven, You just a fly down like raven. That's not the way to behave, You have enough and still they pray. You always taking away mine. Why make you have that troublesome mind? You'll never want, you'll never need it's just that dirty, greedy greed. Long time you are Barabbas. Long time I'm on a dead harass. You too damn craven, Me say you can't go to heaven, Cause you so craven, You're going to burn in open, Why you want so much? You always have that greedy touch. You is a sly old fox. That's why your money can't make you relax. Long time you can't make fun of me. Long time I not get none of it.
So you see the Old Testament, it is that book that have us bamboozled, you know. Because in the Old Testament now we have to be battling with these mythologies and these fables around these concepts of good and evil and justice and injustice. This is a book that we have been given to as our moral guide. Black people who have come off the plantation and have been had this Christianity thing imposed upon them. So we have to find our way out of it because it depends way. So the stories are important, important stories that pass on myth, morals, and especially about this notion of good and evil and Satan and the devil. And if you explore the Old Testament, you know, there's nowhere in the Old Testament where Satan is presented as evil. How Satan is perceived is as an examiner. Now, people are often confusing temptation with examination. So they say Satan is a great tempter. But let us switch the word from temptation to examination. And that Satan actually examines you. And if you can get past Satan, then you can have counsel with the Almighty. Yes, Satan is an examiner. And if you can pass Satan, it's almost like getting a higher degree in consciousness. So when you look at Satan now, Satan doesn't commit evil. Satan commits no harm. If you look at the stories, Satan even bet things with God. Yes, and they bet on Job's life. And God keep telling Satan that he will obey him. And Satan saying just because you're protecting him. So that is not an evil force. That sounds like a testing force. An important force to advance your consciousness. But we have been programmed to see this force as a source of evil. Yes, and we have been demonizing the powers of Satan. And when you ask as a youth, who is Satan? They say Satan is the emperor, the prince of darkness. And that when rain fall and sun shine, God and Satan a struggle. So it is not about good and evil. It could be about male and female. It could be a gender issue. So we're exploring the possibilities that we can break away from this dichotomous of good and evil and begin to see a third force, the force called indifference. Yes, important force in our transition, metamorphosis. Yes, it really is. And you know, as we talk about the Old Testament, taking Abbott and Blender.
Stop till the battle is won and we get just
You know, there's a story in the Genesis about a man called Abraham and a son called Isaac. Now, as I keep saying to the ones, this Genesis book is what has captured the imagination of black people. Captured it. I mean, rope it in and have it soft. Yes, this book called the Genesis. And within that imagination, we have been pushed a story called the story of Abraham and Isaac. And we've been told to rate up and praise up Abraham, as this kind of original man who will give us this religion that will set us free. So everybody run up and down behind Abraham. Abraham came from, I think, this city called could have been Mesopotamia. This is just recently. Yet so many black people line up behind this imagery called Abraham. But hear the story. It's in Genesis 2. And you tell me now, what do you really think about this force of good now that they're going to call God? And this God now is the Jehovah God, the God of Moses. And Isaac and Abraham is the story. We hear that Isaac actually was a son of Abraham. And one day them say, Lord God call out and say, Abraham. And Abraham say, here I am. And him say, I want you to take your only son, the one he loves so dearly, up to the mountains and offer him to me as a sacrifice. Now, this is the God of Moses, This is the God that black people now have been conditioned to worship. And Abraham now decides him when carry his son up to the mountain. Get up early next morning and take his only son, the one he loves so dearly, up into the mountains. After 3 days, Abraham finally reached a place where God tell him to come. And say, so his son said to him, yes, Father, we reach. All right, we have some fire and some wood, but where is the lamb that we're going to offer to sacrifice to this God? And Abraham said, no worry, man, God will provide. And him they don't know already know. And him tie up his son and take up a knife. And about push the knife now in Isaac's throat, And then suddenly them say, Lord God just call out and say, stop! Wicked movie this, Yeah, man, and him just stop. And Lord God said to him, say, hear me now, I just test you, Yeah, man, I want to say how much you love me more than you love your son. And they say that the moral in that story is that this we black people, we must love Lord God more than we love our children. It's serious. Think about it.
And a people song, only them can sing this world.
That is the behavior for terrorists. Yes, Lord God. Terrorism, that at the highest order. Kill my own picnic.
It's a ghetto people song, only them can sing this world. It's a song for the poor who's facing separation. It's a ghetto people song, only them can sing this world. It's a song for the poor who's facing separation. All around, stop down pressure. Why you only terrorize the poor, eluding the fact they are human, who one day will not take it anymore. Whoa. Take it from your brother Everton Blender. Now is the time for you to get stronger. Wise up, and temper your anger. It's a ghetto people song, only them can sing this world. It's a song for the poor who is facing separation. It's a ghetto people song, only them can sing this world. It's a song for the poor who is facing tribulation. Give a little, even a little, just make it trickle. Know who you give to. I'm talking to you, Mr. Fortunate One. Hey, hey, hey. We
Yes, we're here in this metamorphosis. And heal again, heal the people out there. The Dirks, my brethren, and to my sister up in the Springbank, Valerie, and to last man, Tilly, up there in the mountains. Yes, and to the man out in North America and Europe and Africa. They hail from Styles, the land of sprinters. And we'll soon get into the results of our national trials. As is a trial going on nationally. But before we come out to the segment of the mythologies, it's because we are so quote unquote religious and we make ourselves so biblical and Biblish, the whole battle of good and evil become a central part of our existence. People have Bibles open in their homes, hoping that it will ward off evil, like evil can just come through the window. Yes, any evil come through the window, it come in the form of a man or a woman, and then come perform some evil acts. But even as something that blow through the atmosphere like smoke, and you can inhale evil. Nothing like that. So this notion we have of good and evil, and heaven and hell, and the fact that hell is underneath the ground, and heaven is above the earth, that the men in the space station now are, well, they don't reach heaven yet. Certainly not. But there are men who have been traveling further out. There are space shuttles and vehicles that are coming out of the solar system that don't reach heaven yet. Where is this heaven? You know, how far out is heaven? Because we have missions being organized and journeys being made to Mars and deep space probes, and so far nobody don't buck up Lord God and his kingdom yet. So we have to be careful now, about how we invest our energies off the planet Earth. And the fear we have of what's below. Because what's below the earth is the most important thing, That's where all the minerals of the earth exist. So imagine you have a whole population of people who are afraid of underground. Yet they push us underground when they want to get the diamonds. If we go underground and we work, millions underground in places like Africa, just to bring the diamonds to the surface. Yet at the same time, it's down there the devil lives. So, when we go down there, unless the devil is a diamond, something we're not overstanding. Yeah, maybe it represents the diamond and the oils and the platinum, all those things. So we have to reconfigure our way of thinking about this good and evil. This universe that is split in two. And it is considered to be black and white. And in the black and white, now we don't see the Chinese people. I'm always amazed how we have been given views of the universe and the world, but it's in this thing called black and white. And in black and white, we're seeing black people and people who call themselves white. So the mighty Indian population, we dismiss them, and the 1 billion Chinese, we ignore them. These people are not in the Genesis. This is the problem now, When we read in history, and the Genesis and the beginning of people and good and evil, there's no room in there for the Chinese. So the Chinaman is not a part of King James' version of the world. And he's safe. He's not trying to be saved through know Jesus to get into know heaven. The Chinese man heaven is right here on earth. The Chinese man hell is right here on earth. So black people, we are the only ones right now who have no real function on the earth except to work. And what we're working for are the other races, while we prepare ourselves for some future heaven. Look here, brethren, it is time that we sort of get conscious and focus on the now. And evil is done by men and women. There is no one source responsible for evil. Likewise, there ain't no one source that is responsible for all good.
What's going on? Oh, oh, oh. Must be a divine. Oh, must be a divine. Tell you, mother, we don't need to escalate. Oh, brothers, we don't need to calculate. You know we got to find a way.
Yeah, Afrocentric views. So what's going on? This is a big youth version of what Marvin Gaye would sing, you know? Because we are so versatile here as people, you know. Yeah, man, we can make everything Jamaican. Yes, it's just a matter of making it international and keeping a certain standard. The news is really about Syria and the European Union. Begin with Syria because Syria is a flashpoint now for what they're calling regime change, where the Western world, America, United Nations, Britain have come together to decide that it's time that the government of Syria be changed and Assad should go. And there's a war presently going on in Syria. Turkey now has tightened up its borders and things are getting a kind of way. And Assad may be a few days away from being removed from power. Of course, we have seen this happening right across what we call the Arab world. Tunisia, we see it happening in Libya, Egypt, and now Syria. And of course, we know the next stop should be Iran. There's a domino effect happening in the Middle East. This is what the Americans feared would happen in the Southeast Asia during the 60s and the Vietnam era. Now they're advocating and they're promoting the same domino concept, where the Arab states are falling one by one, and the exchange for the fall is the control of the oil supplies by the Western world. Then, of course, the European Union proved that the Europeans are willing to save themselves at any extent. Yes, they have decided to save the economic institutions like the banks in Spain and Portugal and Greece. Massive amount of capital injection, what they call recapitalization. And the Germans have come full around to support the whole program. And it's very interesting to see how the Europeans are insisting that the euro does not collapse. They're insisting that the euro remain viable because it is the key to their ultimate political unity. Yeah, the Europeans have had many years of war amongst themselves, 100 years of wars amongst tribal groups, and they're now evolving into a sort of learning the art of compromise, which apparently the black people have forgotten. So the two important principles of development of a society, one is competition, but the other is cooperation. The Europeans have it down lock. They compete intensively, but when push comes to the shove, they cooperate. We black people, we compete and we struggle to cooperate. We say it's either my way or no way at all. The white man saying, if it's not my way, then let us find a way. So that's a big difference, and the Europeans are saving themselves. And on the other side of the world now, we see the Chinese. I was telling you a couple of weeks ago, the Chinese were planning to launch their space thing. Well, they did launch 2 men and a woman. They did a docking. They did all the preparation for the space platform, and they returned to Earth. The Chinaman is proving that he can establish his space program ultimately without the help of the Europeans. The Chinaman is showing a sort of self-reliance that Garvey spoke about, that Mao Zedong embraced. It is just the black people who are unwilling to embrace the teachings of our own black leaders. The philosophy of Marcus Garvey and his opinions were embraced by the Oriental people. And we see now that China is now a mighty power, not only in the economics, in the military, but as well in space. Question is, where is the black presence in space research? I'm concerned.
Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, and standeth in the ways of sinners, and sitteth in the seat of the scornful. For I the light is in true and living God, Rastafari live. So set up yourself, Bali, dreadlock, set up already. Set up yourself, Bali, and don't be like Bonnie and Clyde. You wanna stay alive? Chill yo. You dread in a jam down, yeah. You dread in America. You dread in a London. You dread in a Babylon. Home of the the fittest of the fittest shall stand. Say to be safe. Cheerio. Only the fittest of the fittest shall stand. Sit up, sail, Bali. Dreadlocks, sit up already. Sit up, sail. If you wanna stay alive, you be like a Won't stop the I sit it in the sky. Right light is in true living God, the Rastafari lives.
Church on Sunday, thinking who you're gonna screw Monday, who you're gonna thief, who you're gonna rob. Take it as me till you say you can't fool God too. Every day you ball out, Jaja. Call yourself a dreadlocks Rasta. Terrorize the people on your lane, cause I saw you get wicked when you lick the code. By his deeds shall a man bend down. Wanna ask you for a piece of bread, you give him stone. His deeds shall a man be known. Natty up your head and worship Babylon throne. By his deeds shall a man be known. Straighten up your liberty and don't bow down. By his deeds shall a man be known. Mr. Money Man with your big money plan. Tell me where you get your first money from. How you plant your field, how you make your deal, then come tell your picnic, them feel don't smoke weed. Left your air condition office and gone a bar. Impress a little easy girl with your pretty car. When you're done, she said she have to get paid. What a fret you a go fret when you hear she have. By his deeds shall a man be known. Wanna ask you for a piece of bread, you give him stone. By his deeds shall a man be known. Natty up your head and worship Babylon throne. By his deeds shall a man be known. Straighten up your liberty and don't bow down. By his deeds shall a man be known.
Yes, by deeds one shall be known. We're gonna go into sports next, but because we're talking about the local events now, and we are a world sprinting country, there's been a stunning upset at the national trials. Speak about it a little bit more as we go into sports. Stunning upset. The whole globe will be shocked to know that we can produce man faster than Bolt. We'll call him just, we can't call it lightning, just like, it's happening too fast. The great things happening locally, and we wonder how to transfer some of this now into our economic and political life. Because as we, in the island here, prepare to celebrate this 50th celebration of independence, what it really does is force I and I to explore and examine what the 50 years has really achieved and how do we really prepare to have a better 50 years. Because it's not enough to just criticize and critique. It's how to really advance the cause over the next 50 years. And there are some issues that need to be addressed, particularly issues that surround our symbols, national symbols. And I'm insisting that the dish need to be run away. If you run with that national dish. What do you think about knife or the dish run away with the dish? And if there's a nursery rhyme about some dish. But this national dish I am saying is a poison. We need to review ackee and saltfish. Yes, after 50 years, how much it has contributed to the enlargement of prostate cancer, enlargement of the prostate gland. What is the link, and why do we continue to insist that we eat this alien food as a national dish? Yes, if saltfish, number one, we don't grow saltfish in Jamaica. Alien food that contributes to our hypertension and high salt intake. So there's a direct link between our diet and our behavior. Everybody know that. But we're ignoring the ackee. And we're looking at everything else. And the ackee just remains consistent, becomes a part of our makeup. People become fearful of stop eating it. It has become an addiction. And I think we need to re-examine this addiction. And why is it so much black man, particularly in Jamaica, end up with enlarging prostates, particularly after they reach the age of 50? They don't serve themselves any more value. All of the money in their life goes into doctor bill and their surgery, and it's pure trauma and pain. And nobody's willing to really make that connection in research and Lego the ackee. So I think for the next 50 years, we should search around for a new national dish, one that represents Jamaica, something indigenous, and something that is healthy. There's also my complaint about the anthem. I think at this point in time, the anthem needs a little reggae in it. We need to hear it whenever we hear the anthem. We just start moving. Yeah, we don't have to stand stiff the way the other cultures do it. We can move. So I think we need to put a little energy into that side of our celebration. Then, of course, I raised the issue here weeks ago about Paul Bogle's image, and that of Thomas Jennings, who is recognized as the inventor of the dry cleaning in America. And of course, the debate has now taken on national importance, and we try to identify really who are our heroes and who really is Paul Bogle. Not only just what he looks like, but why is it there's no Institute of Bogle? Why isn't Bogle in all of the schools the way Marcus Garvey should be? We need to celebrate our heroes. And if our heroes are really resistance fighters, then what does it tell us about the state? Because it takes the state to respect and define who our heroes. But the heroes are the people who are always fighting against the state. So what does it tell us? We should all become resistance fighters. 50 years of celebration. Unemployment has not gone down. People are still living on squatting land. We need to revise and rethink. Yeah, metamorphosis. Going into sports.
The way that Maradona has been able to do. And he's hurting England again here. This is a brilliant run. It's one of the World Cup great goals.
They get away first time. Tyson Gay right alongside Usain Bolt, but here he goes, streaking away already. It's Bolt all the way. He's looking round at Gay. Watch the clock. It's goal for Bolt, and again he's done it again. A new world record for Usain Bolt.
Yeah, but hear me now, people. Something serious happened at the National Stadium in Kingston, Jamaica a few hours ago. What really happened is that in the final, Jamaican sprinter Johan Blak recording a stunning upset over Lightning Bolt to win the 100-meter crown at the J3A National Trials in Kingston. Blake did an impressive 9.75, which beat Bolt's best for the season of 9.76. Now, this is only the second defeat in 2 years, and the first in the national stadium since he turned a professional. Now, it was Bolt's start that proved to be his undoing. And he was actually got caught sleeping in the blocks. And he paid for it. And despite his signature late surge, Bolt finished second in a time of 9.86. Asafa finished third in 9.88. Now, this is an important intervention in the whole series of races coming up to the Olympics. Because look at it this way now. Johan Blake has definitely declared that he is a contender for the gold medal. We know that Bolt is the defending champion. We know that his best time has been 9.76, and we know that tonight he had one of his patented, when he's ready, slow starts, and was able to do 9.86. So we know that, for example, everybody is holding back, and then push come to shove on the day, doing the rounds. I still think it will be the Honorable Usain Bolt that will survive. But it's a long way to go. And Asafa is there. The Americans must now think deeply. Yes, between Tyson Gay and Gatling, they must begin to wonder what is it they're going to have to do to really overpower these Jamaican sprinters. Because the three-man them doing better times than Gatling is going to be serious. Yes, sprinting. And then the women. How that one they done? VCB, Shelly Ann Price, Veronica Campbell Brown, Novlet. All right. So the women are there. Yeah, so VCB and Sharon Simpson. The rocket, the daughter with the rocket start. Karen Stewart. All right. So our teams are lining up. The women and the men, them getting ready to make an assault on the London Olympics. And it is what keeps our country together psychologically. We'd love to see at the end of these Olympics now some real stadiums being put up in Jamaica. And some real honoring. Not about no ticker tape parade and carry the man them round and round the island and bleach them out in the sun. We're talking about the building now of some infrastructure. That there can be a VCB stadium. Or that, for example, William Nib High School can be, Bolt can have a stadium built at his high school. We need to have some things tangible now. Yeah, man, the records are not enough. Or maybe the man need to combine and Asafa and Bolt and own some land and build some stadium on it. Yeah, man, use up the money, man, and build up infrastructure, because you can't broke again, you know. Yeah, man, so we're looking forward to the movements of our athletes. So, Tyson Gay and Gatlin, our national trials is where we show the world that we are ready. And we're going to look at the ball in a little while.
Oh, so rising higher, higher, there's magic everywhere. The expectation of a nation's like music. they want this Mexican. Yeah, girl, it's for your taking. And giving up is the only crime. Now written on the
Yeah, international football. This is the second love of Jamaica. Look here, you see in Jamaica, when you ask somebody what is the national game in Jamaica, what is the national sport, I ask you, what is the national sport in Jamaica? And the argument varies, you know. The response varies. Officially, it is supposed to be cricket. Officially, cricket is supposed to be the national sport of Jamaica. Of course, it started from the 1800s and the whole concept of the West Indies cricket and the fact that it was played by the wealthy and it was a gentleman's game and all the class issues that surround it. Cricket is a national game. Football now is a mass-based sport that nearly everybody play. And people would want to believe that football is our national sport. But it's not considered officially. But you know which sport really is the official sport? Unofficially. Domino, you know. Yeah, man. Domino is the unofficial, official sport in Jamaica. And you see the money would organize more domino leagues all at night for the big man them. You know you can get the man them productive. Yeah, man. Me feel say if the man them want to ramp and play, just turn play serious. Just turn play into work. And a man begin to play a tournament in a league now and then begin to concentrate and come to training and yeah, some monitor turnover and sponsors are coming. Look here, that's how we have to save yourself, you know. We use play and games and the industrialization of play to transform culture into money. Yeah, man, serious thing. So as much as we embrace cricket and football and athletics, it's a domino and Ludo. Ludo come fast too, you know. Yeah. And there are ways how you can transform games into sports, you know. We just have to create leagues. Once you have a league, you know, it moves. You can do the same thing with jacks. All games can be transformed into sports once you set up a league and a scoring system and rewards and punishments and so on. You see the big ball now, World Cup is being played. Half a World Cup is being played now. The European Championships, I call it half a World Cup. The other half of the World Cup is when South American Championship is played. Because the World Cup is usually resolved between South America and Europe. It has been like that from the inception of the World Cup in 1930. Now, when Europe plays the European Cup, we see the teams that are potentially winners from Europe. And in this edition, we're down now to the finals. And we're seeing Italy, a serious, explosive team led by Balotelli, this explosive black Italian. Yo, man. Yes, Balotelli. And they're going to be challenged by the Spanish. Spain, of course, are the defending European champions, and they're also the defending World Cup champions. So a very interesting matchup between the artists and the man them who know how to defend positively and attack with Balotelli. Hey, Balotelli is one serious baller, you know. 21 years old, very explosive. The man mash up Germany. Yeah. And you see, when the black man them get a chance at that stage, the man them just show pure genius. It's just opportunity black man wants, you know. Because talent is just there. And the discipline is there when you're given the right opportunity. And 20 years ago, no black man could represent Italy. Black man represent Germany now. Black man are around the world. This is some black man all around. And when you hear the country them come from, you have to wonder. It shows the power of sports. The power of that industry where black people can use this as an avenue to transform their social lives. That's what we've been doing for the last 100 years, you know. The things that we're getting stuck as performers. We're not turning owners. We're not owning the stadiums. And we're not owning the clubs. Yeah, we're still performing. So that's the next stage to move now, you know. Michael Jordan tried it, you know. He tried to buy a basketball team, but looked like him lacked them kind of skills there to become an owner. So he had to return the shares and whatever. He was one of the greatest players ever. But to make the transition from great player to great owner, a manager of enterprises, a different thing. And we need to go to that level now. So that is a European thing. And the final between Italy and the Spanish should be interesting. Spanish going to get some serious tackling, and the Italians will show great discipline in allowing the Spanish to maintain the possession game without getting too, physical. And once they go forward in the counter attack, Balotelli. When we look at what's happening here locally now, Reggae Boys seem to be on a holiday. Reggae Boys should be preparing to meet America in September. We don't hear anything else happening, so we figure that 3 weeks before, you're going to hear about some camp and some hurry come up thing and some, short meters, and hopefully we hope that is not the case. And that we'll hear very shortly a series of events that will lead to better preparation to play against the Americans. If we don't get a point against America at home, the series will technically be over. We have to get at least 1 point from America in this home match. The Guatemalans were able to get a point from America. We must match them in that area. If we don't win the game, we must have a draw. If we lose to America, the campaign will technically be over. The JFF, of course, are sending out through the Observer, daily paper, that they want suggestions to improve the football. I repeat my own. The rest of them, they have to pay me as a consultant if they want more. But for a man living in the eastern region, I am proposing that they think about uniting the FAs of St. Thomas and Portland and have a super FA, get the sponsorship, the best teams from the two parishes. One would represent the region in the National League. It will be more viable, and that could be the way forward. If they want any other ideas, they have to consult me. They can link me by email, and I will deal with them professionally. So, Metamorphisis and Sports, schoolboy football, that soon take over the people in the world.
Coursing through my vein. Well, can't wait to get home to look up in your face. 'Cause girl, you feel my vibes. I'm so glad you're with the I. Well, we laugh, we cry, sometimes we fuss, but that happens to all of us. I'm so glad you're mine. Well, take this love and receive. threaten to keep you warm. I'll be the shelter from the storm. Set you straight and leave you feeling great, 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 great. And take this love and receive. You are all I need. I got you to cook me sleep. Oh yeah, yeah. Take this love and receive. You are all I need. I got you to cook me sleep. Oh yeah, yeah. Take this.
Yes, Junior Kelly telling us about love. And while we try to sort out good from evil, how does love get in between? Yeah, because the thing called love now, it's supposed to be coming from goodness. But at the same time, we make you wonder. Make you wonder. Because some people who, when them don't express their love to you, feel pain. So, make you have a sort kind of figure out what is this thin edge, between good and evil, and yes, that line between love and hate, and whether it's what we needs versus the wants, and it's an opportunity to look into ourselves, because sometimes we just do these things automatically, and we don't even give it much thought. So Metamorphisis is here for you to think, and we're going into some thoughts now that are deep within our skin.
Something that I like to say. It's rather colorful, but I'll say it anyway. Black is our color, and black is our name. Health, strength, prosperity, and wisdom is our game. 'Cause black we are, and black we will always be. Black in the sight of everyone is so beautiful to see. Ah, da da, baby, yeah. Come on and show me how really black you are, baby. Now. For past, now freedom's come at last. Black man progressing in every way. 'Cause black we are, and black we will always be. Black in the sight of everyone is so beautiful to see.
Yes, the sounds of Wayne Wade. Black is a beautiful thing. So this segment is called Skin Deep. And in the segment now we sort of use it to look into the physiology and the anatomy of I. And sometimes you hear things about skin that makes it give you the feeling that the skin is nothing. It's just there, it's just a cover, it's just nothing. Well, it's a powerful and the most vital organ for black people. I don't know about any other group. But for black people, the skin perhaps is the most critical organ. It not only protects the internal, but it has within it a system. And before you talk about the system that is within the skin, within the very human being, the body, there are various amount of systems that make the whole thing function. So for example, the skeleton. We all have a skeletal, and we call the skeletal a skeletal system, set of bones. They say the human has 205 bones, something like that. And they're all organized and put in a certain way to keep upright, give you a frame. So we have a skeletal system. We also have a digestive system that helps us to move food in and out of the system and takes energy to the food. So we have various systems that make up the body. There is a cardiovascular system that deals with heart rate and beat and so on and so forth. There are also systems that we're going to call nervous systems. Now, the nerve system is a critical system in the being. Because the nerve system now is like the center of our consciousness. So we have a central nervous system, CNS. And the central nervous system operates out of the brain. The important organs of the central nervous system are the spinal column and the brain. So think about that system now. And so if a man say if you have bad nerves, it means say you're kind of weak. And what we're talking about, how do you strengthen your nerves? Certain type of foods you eat, certain type of thing you drink to sort of improve your nerves. People don't want to have weak nerves because it usually leads to poor health. Now, besides the nervous system, the system I want to talk about now is your memory system. You have systems of memory. These are organizations in our bodies that allow us to hold on to information and store information. Where do we have these memory systems? We have these systems in our brain, and we also have these systems in our skin. So there's a central nervous system that is the brain and the spinal column. The peripheral nervous system, peripheral they call it, operates out of the skin. I was saying to black people now that we have a nervous system in our skin that is responsible for feeling, not just physical feeling, but also emotional and psychological feeling. Yeah, we have a nervous system. It rests in the pigment of our skin. So within the melanin, there is a system of nerves. These nerves are not fed by bloodstream. These nerves are fed by sunlight. Solar energy motivates these nerves, and these nerves are in the skin. They're actually in the epidermis of the skin. So we'll talk about skin deep on the metamorphosis. We talk about the levels of consciousness that exist within the black skin. And that's why when we destroy the skin with lotions and creams, we're destroying part of our memory system. We're destroying the ancient memories that are passed on through genetics. So the memories of the race are stored in the skin, and they're passed on through genetics. Yes, we have a central nervous system, and we also have a peripheral system. Black people have been told to ignore that system. And I'm saying if we begin to think about it and learn how to activate that peripheral system, we can have greater levels of communication. Another way of looking at that system is to call it an ESP, an extra sensual perceptual system. So we have ESP. Nothing fanciful, it's just simply an extra sense that dwells in the skin. Metamorphosis, skin deep.
My complexion is better than ever. Man, I'm gonna bleach it out, so it's better, yes, it's better than ever. Brown skin. I know for everybody, so bleaching you fit up it from you do that to your skin. That means say you no love yourself. Jah make you perfect, so no judge yourself. The person where you tell you say black now we're rugged insecure with themselves, so no follow them. Me no bleach, me no care if that a the trend. Proud to be black as a matter of fact. I have no white God, so don't teach me anything wrong. You want me dilute me color cause you think it too strong. Side effect of skin cancer, that's a 1+. Me don't want to look like no purple dragon. Alright then, I know everybody around. I know everybody a rob. Not because Grace and Jack and him granny a rob. No means say everybody a rob. See you on the corner with your tuggy ways, but make you understand, make you go bleach out your face. Me did love you when you block me, not lie. But now when me see you, me just feel like we cry. In all my life, I have never seen one skin red it blacker than Barbara Green. Get paler than Michael and Billie Jean.
Yeah, the skin is important to really focus on a bit, because we are suffering from lack of self-value. Oftentimes, not recognizing that we are destroying our own systems of memory. We're destroying our memory, we're destroying ourselves. You see the thing about feeling and the fact that we have organs of sensation. We know that the eyes and the ears as organs perform certain functions. So the eyes pick up vibrations, allow us to see things visually. The ears pick up vibrations, allow us to hear. Feeling. We pick up vibrations of feelings. And these vibrations we pick up through our skin. The hair is a very important organ to help us to sense vibrations. And the hair is an extension of the skin. We cannot ignore the skin, nor destroy the skin for the sake of beauty. Because the skin in its natural state is beautiful. So the nervous system that dwells in the black skin dwells at the level of the Malpighian layer. It is those layers. That layer was discovered by an Italian. And he recognized that in the black skin there's a layer of cells. And he called that layer the Malpighian layer. We are the ones who are supposed to know about this cell. It's in our skin. And it's these cells that are able to hold on to information. It is these cells that cannot be destroyed by solar energy. It is these cells that can store energy. So within the skin of the black man, there are memories. And these memories are stored in the melanin system. It's a peripheral nervous system. It's not considered at the center of our beings. We are focused more on our brain. So we have to look into ourselves and recognize that feelings manifest at two levels or more. But basically, there's physical feeling. So there's like temperature, there's pressure. All of these things are picked up by the skin. But then there's also emotional feeling. There is psychological feeling. These two are also experienced by the skin. So when we abuse ourselves and cuss ourselves and talk over skin evil and we're dirty, and it's a condemnation, it's a degradation of our own consciousness. We have to begin to have more respect for the skin. Because when we go deep into the skin, we arrive at the collective unconscious. We have the memories of generations. This is why African people can be born talented. Because the talent is already within. It is stored in the melanin of our skin. So we're able to have genius at early ages. We have intuitive memory. All of these things are stored not in the brain, but in the skin of the black man. Our memory systems dwell within our melanin. So we have memories in our eyes. We have memories in our ears. Yes, we have memories of sounds and sights that are ancient, coming through the genetics of I and I. Skin deep, metamorphosis.
This one is for my black, this one is for my black and beautiful princess. Such a wonderful child. This is a letter to my black princess. Just gotta tell her, have no stress. To be near her is my greatest wish. To prepare her favorite dish. We've been together so long, and the black woman, you're my empress. Jano,
the sound of Sanchez and the Black Princess and the old blackness. Again, I'm going to have to speak a little bit about my food and my little place that I've been eating and helping to bring it forward. This is Zion Train Restaurant in the Musgrave Marketplace in the back, where they have good food cooked to order, fish and soups and vegetable and chunks and the things that make you healthy. Open from 6:30 to 10. So give it a visit now, pass through. It's in the culture spot, the market. Have a taste. Zion Train Restaurant. Mr. Maureen and the chef will give you what you need. Yeah, so we're looking into the woman and the man and the feelings, because I am thinking that we are feeling people. You know, there's this French philosopher called Descartes, and he has a quotation that the whole world revolves around. Him say, I think, therefore I am. And all of Western literature speak and recite that phrase. And I know I've recognized that there needs to be an adjustment to that ideology. And because feeling has become such an important discovery, I think that for black people, the dictum should be, I feel, therefore I am. Because we actually feel before we think. We are feeling beings, black people. We are highly sensitive. And our powers rest in our capacity to feel. Deep feeling. To a level where some people may want to call it spiritual feeling. Thinking is a second process. That what the Europeans have done is convince us that our feelings are not real. That we must think more. So everything we do, we try to make it logical. So our intuitive feeling, what the woman them use every day upon the man them. Yeah. We sort of abandon that for this linear type of process called thinking. You see feelings work in a way where we can explain it with words. And we normally right. How we arrive at it, we don't really have no logical explanation. And ask a woman about intuition. She just tells us she knows. Ask her what she knows. She makes some jumps and some leaps and just come to conclusions. And we are go through this process of down the road and turn the corner and she don't reach already. There's something in our power to feel that the women have held on to naturally that the man them have given up, and we need to reclaim it. So we feel. And once we are feeling beings, then we must recognize the foundation of our feeling rests in our skin. If we begin to take care of our skin, feed your skin properly, if we begin to bathe, make the pores them open up, if we begin to think of our skin as a living organ, and not something that we can abuse using chemicals and washes and lightnings, while the people who lack our melanin spend all of their money trying to get dark. Wake up. we continue to just hold this little discourse on the skin. When then did black skin become the sign of evil? With all the powers of the black skin, the powers of memory, powers of creating food by manifesting vitamin D from the sunlight, how then did black skin become evil? And in juxtaposition to that, how could white skin then become good? Because we have been again programmed through education and through religious training that the black skin represents sin. And it all goes back to the mythology of Lucifer being thrown from heaven, being fully white, landing on earth, becoming fully black. So this black skin, over the last couple of hundred years, have been identified now with the source of evil. And yet I recognize through physiology and anatomy that the skin is really a divine protection. The skin really organizes and links itself with the almighty divine sun. The sun that governs the solar system is in harmony with the skin. And that harmony is expressed by the skin taking solar energy and transforming it into vitamin D. So the black people can use the sun to feed their cells. Don't really need to be feasting on milk for vitamin D. So when we recognize what's happening with the skin really is a protection. It's a protection given to black people by the almighty divine creative force to protect themselves from the harmful rays of the sun. So the skin then, the black skin, is good. The black skin is good. It is not only good, it is divinely good. Maintains the health of the black body. It stores energy that can be released in the working hours of the early morning. There's all good about the black skin. So when we talk about the root of good and evil and the source of evil and who is the devil and the powers of Satan, we recognize that the black skin is not equated to the devil. Yes, there's no equation between the black skin and the devil. The devil is the doers of evil. So we try to make that distinction, that one can help themselves in their own overstanding. So your feelings emerging out of your skin, and your skin is divine in its creation. The skin is a protector. The skin is a creator. So that we should never, at any point in time, begin to view our skin as a curse. Our skin, the black skin, is a blessing. Metamorphisis. Vibes FM. Iman Blak.
You got to know who you are. You got to know what you're for. Yeah. Like a my, why should I stray? My roots and my culture are so me a go stay. Like a my, like who must I say? Martin Luther King or Marcus Garvey. Like a my, why should I stray? My roots and my culture are so me a go stay. Like a my, like who must I say? Martin Luther King or Marcus. Here's some phalanx out there who I really adore. Love money, yes, and that's for sure. We never had enough and so they fight for more. They keep on voting on the freedom door. Just not the same since they came. Black integrity and they stood for the name. Arrive at the aim, though they never Paul Marcus Garvey. No one remember Paul Marcus Garvey. No one remember Paul Marcus Garvey. No one remember him. No one talking about Paul Booker. They've been talking about William Carter. They've been talking about Norman Washington Manley, including Buster Manley. No one remember Paul Marcus Garvey.
Yeah, so Metamorphosis winding down to our final few minutes, giving praises to the forces of Rastafari. Oh, here King Walter Rodney, King Winston Rodney. Yes, Winston Rodney, through his efforts, has resurrected the ghost of Marcus Garvey. Without Winston Rodney, the burning spear, we really would not remember Marcus Garvey 2000. Burning spear, coming out of St. Anne's. So we're celebrating in these 50 years the life and works of Winston Rodney and the burning spear. Burning spear, of course, is the title coming from Jomo Kenyatta, the burning spear, Kenyan leader. And Marcus Garvey by now should be deified. Yes, we should transform him into a god. And perhaps we need a republic of Garvey established right here on this land. Yes, Marcus Garvey. A Liberty Hall should be placed in all university campuses in Jamaica. We should deify Garvey. We need a republic of Garvey right here on this rock. So we give thanks to Winston Rodney and the burning spear who has made sure that Garvey has stayed alive in the consciousness of black people. Hail Winston Rodney, King Rodney. Yeah, Metamorphosis, 3 hours, nearly done. But it's a work of a lifetime, so it shall continue. Give thanks to all the listeners locally, listeners abroad, listeners in cyberspace. Pitchfield Hill. Yes. Harbour View. UWI. Buff Bay. Bellevue. Golden Grove. Finland. Haha, the Finnish people. Yes, well, we done yes or no. And of course, E.L. Ossa and Makonnen. Give thanks to Jacko and his presence. And to the Styles family, Metamorphosis, Iman Blak saying peace and prosperity unto the eyes and the eyes. Irate. Zion Train Restaurant, Musgrave Marketplace. Have a one stop.
This is Styles FM 96.1 on your FM dial.
passion. Girl, I learned that love just won't wait.